Every science textbook you have ever read lied to you about what atoms look like. That picture in your head right now, the one with a little ball in the middle and smaller balls orbiting around it like a tiny solar system, is completely wrong. It is not even close. The real structure of an atom is so strange, so counterintuitive, and so deeply weird that when physicists first figured it out, several of them said they wished they had chosen a different career. What atoms actually look like breaks every rule of common sense. And once you understand the truth, you will never look at solid objects the same way again. The story of how we got the atom so wrong starts in 1897 with a British physicist named J.J. Thomson. Thomson discovered the electron, the first subatomic particle ever found. He knew atoms had these tiny negative charges inside them, and he knew the overall atom was electrically neutral, so he proposed a model. He imagined the atom as a ball of positive charge, with electrons embedded throughout it, like raisins stuck in a pudding. Scientists actually called it the plum pudding model. It sounds ridiculous now, but at the time it was the best guess anyone had. There was no way to see inside an atom, no microscope was powerful enough, no instrument could probe something that small, so for over a decade, the plum pudding model was the accepted picture of atomic structure. Then a New Zealand physicist named Ernest Rutherford designed an experiment that changed everything. In 1911, Rutherford and his colleagues Hans Geiger and Ernest Marsden set up one of the most important experiments in the history of science. They fired tiny positively charged particles called alpha particles at an extremely thin sheet of gold foil. If Thomson's plum pudding model was correct, every single alpha particle should have passed straight through with only slight deflections. The positive charge was supposed to be spread evenly throughout the atom, so there would be nothing dense enough to stop the particles. And at first, that is exactly what happened. Most alpha particles sailed right through the gold foil as if it was not even there. But then something shocking occurred. A tiny fraction of the particles bounced back, not deflected slightly, not nudged off course. They came flying straight back toward the source, as if they had hit a wall. Rutherford later said it was as if you fired an artillery shell at a piece of tissue paper and it came back and hit you. Those bouncing particles told Rutherford something revolutionary. The positive charge and nearly all of the mass of the atom was not spread out like pudding. It was concentrated in an incredibly tiny, incredibly dense point at the center. He called it the nucleus, and the scale of this discovery is hard to overstate. If an atom were the size of a football stadium, the nucleus would be a single grain of sand sitting on the 50-yard line. Everything else, the entire rest of the stadium, would be empty space. This means that every solid object you have ever touched, every wall, every table, every human body, is overwhelmingly made of nothing. The atoms that make up your hand are almost entirely empty. The atoms that make up the floor beneath your feet are almost entirely empty. You are essentially a cloud of emptiness held together by invisible forces. Now, Rutherford's model was a massive improvement over the plum pudding, but it still was not right. He pictured electrons orbiting the nucleus like planets orbit the sun. Clean, neat, circular paths. This made intuitive sense. But there was a fatal problem. According to classical physics, a charged particle moving in a circle emits radiation. It loses energy. An orbiting electron should spiral inward, losing energy continuously, and crash into the nucleus within a fraction of a second. Every atom in the universe should instantly collapse. Obviously, that does not happen. So something was fundamentally wrong with the model. In 1913, a Danish physicist named Niels Bohr proposed a partial fix. He said electrons could only orbit at specific fixed distances from the nucleus, like steps on a ladder. They could jump between steps but could never exist in between. This explained why atoms were stable, and it predicted the light patterns emitted by hydrogen atoms with remarkable accuracy, but it still pictured electrons as little balls moving in defined paths. And that picture was about to be completely destroyed. In 1927, a German physicist named Werner Heisenberg discovered something that shattered the very concept of an electron having a definite location. He proved mathematically that you cannot simultaneously know both the exact position and the exact speed of a subatomic particle. This is not a limitation of our instruments. It is not because our microscopes are not good enough. It is a fundamental property of reality itself. The more precisely you measure where an electron is, the less you can know about how fast it is moving. The more precisely you measure its speed, the less you can know about where it is. This is called the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Think of it like this. Imagine you are in a completely dark room trying to find a ping pong ball by throwing tennis balls at it. Every time a tennis ball hits the ping pong ball, You learn where it was at that moment. But the impact of the tennis ball also knocks the ping pong ball to a completely new location and changes its speed. The act of observing changes the thing you are observing. At the subatomic level, observation and reality are tangled together in a way that makes precise measurement impossible. So if electrons do not orbit in neat paths, and you can never know exactly where they are, what do atoms actually look like? The answer comes from quantum mechanics, and it is genuinely strange. Electrons do not exist in specific locations. Instead, they exist as probability clouds. Imagine a fuzzy haze surrounding the nucleus. The denser the haze in a given spot, the more likely you are to find the electron there if you measured it. But until you actually measure it, the electron does not have a definite position. It is not hiding somewhere in the cloud waiting to be found. It genuinely exists as a smeared-out probability across the entire cloud simultaneously. This is not simplified for a YouTube video. This is what the mathematics says, and every experiment ever conducted confirms it. The electron is the cloud is the electron. There is no tiny ball zooming around in there. And here is where it gets even more mind-bending. These probability clouds are not all the same shape. Depending on the energy level of the electron, the cloud takes on completely different geometries. The simplest orbital, called the s orbital, is a sphere centered on the nucleus. The next type, called parorbitals, look like dumbbells or figure eights pointing in different directions. Dumborbitals look like four-leaf clovers. Fumborbitals are so complex they almost look like abstract art. These are not approximations or artistic interpretations. These shapes are the exact mathematical solutions to the Schrödinger equation, the master equation of quantum mechanics developed by Erwin Schrödinger in 1926. Every atom in your body right now has electrons existing as these bizarre probability shapes. The carbon atoms in your skin have electrons in dumbbell-shaped clouds. The iron atoms in your blood have electrons in cloverleaf patterns. You are made of abstract geometry. So let us put all of this together and confront what it means for everyday reality. Pick up any object near you right now. A phone, a cup, a book. It feels solid, it has weight, it resists your touch. But at the atomic level, that object is almost entirely empty space. The atoms themselves are 99.999999999, empty. The nucleus takes up almost no volume. The electrons are smeared across probability clouds that are mostly empty. So why does anything feel solid at all? The answer is not that atoms are packed tightly together like billiard balls. The answer is electromagnetic force. When you press your hand against a table, the electron clouds of your hand atoms repel the electron clouds of the table atoms. Negative charges push against negative charges. You never actually touch the table. Your hand hovers an incredibly small distance above the surface, pushed back by electromagnetic repulsion. Every time you have ever touched anything in your entire life, you were not really touching it. You were feeling the force of electrons refusing to overlap. Now you might be thinking, if we can never see atoms directly, how do we know any of this is true? The answer is that we have built machines that can feel atoms even if we cannot see them. The scanning tunneling microscope, invented in 1981 by Gerd Binnig and Heinrich Rohr, works by bringing an incredibly sharp needle tip within a few atoms' distance of a surface. At that range, electrons from the surface can quantum tunnel across the gap to the tip, creating a measurable electrical current. By scanning the tip across the surface and measuring how the current changes, scientists can map out the electron density of individual atoms. The resulting images look like bumpy landscapes of hills and valleys. Each bump represents the probability cloud of a single atom. These images are not photographs. They are maps of electron probability, and they match the quantum mechanical predictions perfectly. We have never seen an atom the way you see a baseball, but we have confirmed their quantum nature with extraordinary precision. So why do textbooks and logos and science posters still use the old solar system model? Because it is simple, it is easy to draw, it fits on a logo, it makes intuitive sense. The real quantum model is hard to visualize, impossible to draw in 2 dimensions, and deeply uncomfortable for human brains that evolved to understand rocks and trees and predators, not probability waves. But simplicity is not accuracy. Every time you see that classic atom symbol with the orbiting lines, you are looking at a model that has been known to be wrong for nearly 100 years. The real atom is a tiny dense nucleus surrounded by ghostly probability clouds of electrons that do not have definite positions, do not follow defined paths, and exist as mathematical waves until the moment they are measured. Reality at the smallest scale is nothing like reality at our scale. And that is not a failure of science. That is one of the greatest discoveries in human history. Here is the thought that should keep you up tonight. Every single thing you see around you, your walls, your furniture, the air you are breathing, the screen you are watching this on, and your own body, is built entirely from atoms that are almost entirely empty space, held together by forces between particles that do not have definite locations. The solid world is an illusion created by electromagnetic repulsion between ghostly probability clouds. You have never touched anything. Nothing has ever touched you. The feeling of solidity is your nervous system interpreting electromagnetic force fields. You are a collection of quantum probability clouds, shaped like spheres and dumbbells and clovers, interacting with other quantum probability clouds, generating the experience of a solid physical world through nothing but mathematics and force. And somehow, out of all that abstract quantum strangeness, you became conscious enough to wonder about it. If this changed the way you see reality, subscribe to Meridian and Mortar, and hit the notification bell. We break down the most mind-bending science every week in a way that actually makes sense. And here is your question to think about. If atoms are almost entirely empty space, and you are made of atoms, then what exactly are you? Drop your answer in the comments. We read every single one.